Alright, so we're ready to go in the store or whatever, but I want to go ahead and do part 2. Hopefully I can finish like my whole story. I mean, I know it's going to be more parts or whatever, because it's going to be like hopefully people comment and like I can respond, because I know it's going to be certain things I'm going to forget, because this has been a long journey. It's been, so far, I know I probably been dealing with this longer, but I've only known about it for a little over a year. Okay, so please bear with me. I'm not going to remember everything. I can talk about this all day long. Anyway, so I do want to backtrack from when I said when my doctor told me to come back in, and basically he told me he didn't understand like how I was able to basically just walk into his office and sit up there, have a whole conversation with him without like not literally passing out on the floor when he saw my levels. He said my levels were literally so low that he wanted to admit me to the hospital in that moment, but because I wasn't showing signs of like any sort of like delusion, or basically I wasn't looking like, help me, that he was like, unless you want to, we're gonna give you these iron pills. You're gonna start these iron pills today. You're gonna change your diet, and you're gonna go home. So I said, okay. I said, the only time I really have like major symptoms, but this is before I knew what my actual symptoms were. This is stuff I've been dealing with for years, and I did not realize what I was dealing with. So because at the time, when I found out everything, I was still 28. A month and some change later, I turned 29. So they was like, oh, you're still in your 20s, like da-da-da, like, do you want to have kids? No. And that's like more of like just a personal reason, but it's just like, no. So I'm like, what can we do, you know? So basically he goes and puts my prescription in, gives me these iron pills. They, from what I know, well, I thought at the time they were like the highest dosage of iron pills that you can get like over the counter, but they was like, they have them over the counter, but she like also prescribed them so that I didn't have to like pay out of pocket whatever, how much for them. So he puts my prescription in. So yeah, he puts my prescription in, whatever, and basically tells me like, you know, well, he starts me questions like my diet, like what do I eat, da da da. And I was like, well, I said I have not ate pork or beef in years. So he was just like, he was like, I'm not saying you have to eat pork if that's like a religious reason, but it's not. It's just a personal preference. And he was just like, but he was like, if I were you, I would at least start trying to incorporate beef. So from there, that's my journey started of eating red meat again. And it wasn't really steak that I was eating. I was mostly eating like lamb chops. Like, baby, I love me some lamb chops, oxtails. I wanted the expensive meat, baby. And that was my problem. And I also want to say that pretty much my whole life I've been small. I've been a real small petite girl. I was the same size from the time that I was like maybe like 14 or 15 years old up until I was literally 27, 28 is when I really even started like really gaining weight and it actually sticking. But it wasn't like, oh, I was gaining like pounds on pounds on pounds. The max I would gain is like 5 pounds, and then like I said, I would get sick or something like that, and I would lose the weight because I just wasn't eating right or whatever. So when I started this journey, when I got weighed at when I got weighed the first time, when I first started going to the doctor, I only weighed 109 pounds. Okay, keep that in mind. That was October 2023. When I went back like a month later, I was 113 pounds. So this is when I really started getting concerned. I was like, okay, well, maybe it's just because, you know, I'm probably bloated. My cycle's about to start. We'll do with the boo. That's what we thought it was. Like, the nurse was like, girl, you tripping. You still so small. But you have to understand, like, I've never been someone to, like, body shame or whatever like that. Like, everybody, like, in my family has all been, like, either heavy set. Everybody was pretty much a bigger, like, a heavier size than what I've always been. And it never fazed me. Like, the only thing, like, I've always ever had to deal with was people be like, oh, you so skinny, you need to eat, baby. I eat. Trust me, I eat. But it was just like the fact that I was able to gain weight that fast. Like, even if I ever like gained weight, it would always be over a span over like 3 months or something like that, where I would like gradually gain like 5 pounds. Like, okay, cool. Then it would go away. So basically I gained the weight. That was like my first red flag. I'm like, okay, yeah, like you really need to refer me to somebody. So that's when the whole process like really started, where he was adamant about, okay, see how fast you can get in with that gynecologist. Because I feel like my doctor, my primary care, knew that it was fibroids, but he was afraid to tell me. And I feel like he didn't want to tell me without me being diagnosed, because he didn't want me to freak out. Because when he was telling me stuff, I was already in there Googling or whatever. And he like, girl, get off of Google. And I was like, don't tell me what to do. So anyway, that same day I started taking the iron. Went to the store, bought me a pack of lamb chops, some spinach. Like I'm just being extra. You know, I'm trying to find like little like trying to find juicing and smoothies, and I'm going on like I'm on TikTok finding all the fibroid girlies like what they taking. Then I saw like some people saying that they also had to take like vitamin D3, and they also had to take like all these other vitamins, and I'm just like, Lord, like who's about to go spend $100 on some vitamins, and I don't even know what amount of milligrams, nothing that I need to do. So I just kind of paused, and I just took a deep breath, and I just prayed. So I'm sorry if my story is all over the place, but like I said, this is just a lot to uncover because a lot has happened in the past year. So I started taking the iron. Let's start with the effects of the iron. This is before, we ain't even gonna get into the whole gynecologist thing of that part. We can get to that later. Let's start with the effects of taking the iron pills. When he gave me the iron pills, the first set of iron pills I started taking, I think they were green. So you know what that means? Like iron, he did not warn me of those side effects of that, taking that iron. Like y'all, when I tell you my stomach was tore up, like my bowel movements were ridiculous, like gas ridiculous, literally I was shitting out baby Ninja Turtles. Okay, like it was bad. I was extremely constipated a lot of the time. I had to do like more like intake of water. I had to find like other like options like to keep me hydrated because I was using the bathroom so much. It was ridiculous. Like the iron was literally taking over my life. Like I would be at work, I would be miserable, and don't let me have to be tired, because at my job I used to have to be at my job at like 7 o'clock in the morning. I would have to get up at like 5, get ready, all that stuff, make sure I took the iron, all that before I left the house. Like it was ridiculous. And then don't let me drink coffee and have the iron pills. Nobody told me that either, baby. Literally would have to pull over, wouldn't even make it all the way to work sometimes. Like some days it would make me so nauseous. Like one day I was on the way to work, took my iron, drank coffee, not knowing that this was like the cause of it, and like I literally had to pull over before getting on the highway and throw up in these people parking lot. Like it was terrible. And it's like, and I never told nobody what I was going through, except I just kept trying to make doctor's appointments. But of course, you know, every time you go to the doctor's appointments, not only do you have copay, you got lab fees, you got this and this. And it was extremely hard. Like I was already struggling as is, and it was like this whole new medical scare was just, it was just taking over. And it was just like, it was taking over bad, y'all. So everything was cool for like, I mean, I ain't gonna say it was cool, but like I said, like the only thing that was really like bothering me that much was with the iron was the fact that, you know, like I was having like the stomach issues, But then of course when I called to my doctor, he like, girl, you don't have to come in for that, that's normal, just keep drinking water. That was the excuse. Just drink water, make sure you stay hydrated. So then I started going on TikTok and stuff. Then so people told me like, oh, you got to drink orange juice or something, or like something citrusy with your iron. So I said, okay, fine. So then I was like, whatever, I'm gonna self-diagnose myself. So then I decided I was gonna stop taking my iron because I was using the bathroom so much, and I found like a liquid iron. But that liquid iron, baby, was almost like, it was like, I think I found the cheapest was like $22, but on a regular, if I didn't catch like a sale, that crap was almost $30 a bottle, and it wouldn't even last me a month. So imagine that on top of all your other medical bills, and it was just like I couldn't afford that either. So I went back to the freaking iron pills, and then now I'm on the iron pills and the birth control. Baby, I was tore up. And it's like I just didn't understand everything. Like it just felt like my symptoms got worse. I was extremely tired, and at this point I'm working 2 jobs. Like I was literally working 2 jobs, and it was taking such a toll on me. It was already bad enough that I was only getting like maybe like 4 hours of sleep each night between both jobs or whatever. But then to be dealing with this on top of it, like I thought I was going to have to literally admit myself into a hospital.